The pick is in.
The Milwaukee Bucks have made a selection in the 2024 NBA Draft. I'm Tanitra Batiste, and we're joined by Camille Davis from Locked On Bucks to break down the Bucks selecting AJ Johnson with the number 23 pick presented by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. Now, Camille, Johnson did flash at the NBA Combine and he showed signs, but were you still shocked the Bucks took him at 23?
Very much so. Johnson to me projected as somebody who would be a good second round flyer for the Bucks to take. But as time was going on, and I saw in the very last mock draft put together by the Athletic today, leading into the draft, they actually moved up AJ Johnson into that 23rd spot for the Bucks, saying this is a high swing pick for the Bucks, and it looks like that mock came into fruition.
Yeah, and this is a Bucks team that, and this is just, from the outside looking in, I know you cover them intimately. That seems like a team that's trying to kind of reclaim their championship form, which I feel like was a lot about depth at just about every position. So how do you feel like Johnson adds to this depth, particularly for the Bucks backcourt?
That's part of why this pick is a little bit surprising to me. Johnson, to me, comes off as somebody who's not yet quite ready to play meaningful minutes, especially for a contending team in the NBA. He has great physical tools looking at just his body, his height, 6'5". But the thing is, he's under 170 pounds. You saw in the NBL last season during the limited time that he did get to play that it just seemed like it's a little bit too physical for him at times. So he is going to have to get a lot stronger to be somebody to play consistently in the NBA at this time.
Yeah. And do you see him as a guy who, and there's so much competition at the top of the Eastern Conference for everyone who's trying to topple the Celtics, or in the Bucks case, kind of get back to the top of the conference like they've been for so many years. But is this a guy where if Camille he's able to go to the summer league and play there, do you think he can maybe get those skills, kind of bulk up and be somewhat of a contributor to this Bucks team, especially on the backside of the season?
He's going to have his work cut out for him. I was always curious going into this draft about what the Bucks would do with their draft picks, understanding they're a second apron team at this point. So we know how hard it is and how handicapped they are building out the team this summer.
Yeah.
But they already have 4 young guys on the roster with AJ Green, with Marjon Beauchamp, with Andre Jackson Jr., and even Chris Livingston, who didn't get much playing time last year, but is expected to try to show something this year. So now you add in Johnson as well, who is going to have to really fight for his spot because there are some other young guys on this roster that already have experience in the system and have some, NBA experience. So it's going to be a tough going for Johnson, I think, to get immediate playing time. He's going to have to really impress to do that.
Indeed, indeed. For more on the Bucks, subscribe to Locked On Bucks on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And for more on AJ Johnson, let's get an inside look on his path to the NBA.
Hey, this is Richard Stamen, aka Mavs Draft from the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. Let's talk about AJ Johnson from the Illawarra Hawks. He decommitted from Texas back in 2023 to go to the NBL Rising Stars program with the Illawarra Hawks. He struggled there. He only had 3 points a game, really inefficient season, but he has a high ceiling, very low floor because of that athleticism. The question teams are going to be asking is he worth the gamble, because he needs to add a lot of strength while also becoming a better shooter, and also just being able to find ways to impact the game beyond his athleticism. He can throw down a nice dunk every once in a while, but what else can he do? That's the question teams and scouts are asking themselves. And because of that, he's one of the higher risk reward players in this draft that could easily boom or bust.
For continuing coverage of the 2024 NBA Draft, subscribe to Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.